Welcome. This is 146th day of Ukrainian resistance. Here is Ukraine Media Center. I'm Vasil Samakhvalov, and we start our talk with Galyna Bordun, advisor to the head of Lviv Oblast Military Administration, head of medical and psychosocial support working group. Lena, you're welcome to the stage. And my first question is, and what kind of medical and psychosocial support working group is it? What are the challenges and what is it dealing with? Welcome to everyone. So, Medical and Psychosocial Support Working Group was established by the order of Lviv Oblast Military Administration Maxim Kozytsky, and its main objective is to provide psychosocial support, medical support. It has 7 directions we are working with. We have been working with them since May, and the first thing we started with was 7 large trips to Ryan administrations where we invited the representatives responsible for their accommodation of IDPs in the communities. We invited chief physicians, representatives of religious communities. Thus, we managed to combine the effort of different information channels that are already available in the communities, and also we discussed the main challenges that were not taken into account because March and April were very tough months for all of us. This provided us with an incentive to move on, and in June we got localized more in territorial communities within strategic sessions to which we invite the representatives of IDPs. We invite representatives of business, representatives of the territorial community we are in, and within 5 or 6 hours, in heated discussions, we discuss all the challenges in the territorial community and develop some 3 or 4 most important draft decisions that are further implemented as projects in this territorial community. So the working group consists of the representatives of the Department of Education of Lviv Oblast Military Administration, the Department of Healthcare, Department of Culture, and our partners, which is the Sheptytsky Hospital, Mental Health Project, Crisis Service of Lviv, and UMSA, the youth organization that unites healthcare professionals at Lviv Medical University, named after Danilo Halitsky. In the process of work, we saw the challenges and the needs of territorial communities. And starting with June, we've been developing the search of volunteers called social support. We invite the representatives of active businesses that are also developing this direction. And these are the volunteers who are now ready to support the elderly people in territorial communities. It's not a secret to anyone that starting with mid-April, the people coming here to Lviv region have majorly been people who are of elderly age, and definitely these are people who will not leave our communities but are ready to live here for a year, for 2 years, and somebody probably till the end of their lives. The age group is different from 60 years up to 97. Like we met a lady yesterday who is 97. Mostly they come with no documents, with no accompaniment and support, and they are not able to quickly find solutions. And we are not always able to quickly find solutions. Our working group has its representatives at Lviv railway station, and this group consists of HCPs and psychologists. That's why we've got update information round the clock, because we meet those people and we realize what their needs are. But analyzing those issues, we came to understand that the people coming to Lviv region are the people who will really need great support and care, and we are to find comprehensive solutions for them to meet their needs. That's why our working group includes representatives of different departments. In 2 or 3 weeks, together with our partners, the Ukrainian Catholic University, the Department of Bioethics, we want to have the first training for the volunteers, for the people who are ready to accompany these people, meaning to communicate with them, to feed them, to have walks with them, to take care of them, to have good and necessary skills. I'm sure that Lviv region will cope with this difficult task because, nobody expected this situation to happen. Nobody expected the events of the 24th of February, and nobody expected what we have now. So this category of people is the most vulnerable one. The other challenge we faced in the communities is consultation of our partners who are ready to help us and who have been helping for 5 months in territorial communities. And sometimes during meetings with them, we speak about duplication of effort when different partners are bringing, let's say, household appliances to one and the same dormitory. So, to better arrange this support, we have come to an agreement with them that we will have coordination centers or consultation centers affiliated to Ryan administrations of Lviv Oblast Military Administration. As far as Lviv Ryan is concerned, it's a large one, so we will have Horodok, Kamenka-Buzka, and Perepeshlyana centers. We are con- convinced that the number of communities will become larger because Novoyavoriv's territorial community has already declared their willingness to join us. But we ground our logistics of consultation centers on Ryan administrations. These centers will provide legal support. We have quite a number of partners who are ready to provide pro bono legal support to people having no documents. The documents which are now issued in the Centers of Administrative Services provision have to be paid for, and not people can afford this service. We have partners, from example, the Danish Council, who are ready to undertake this challenge and to help us both within the legal framework and to provide financial support for this service. There are also other partners working with elderly people, with women and children. There are partners who localize narrow services. And we want to unite in the same room people who could provide consultations in those consultation centers. So whenever a person comes to that tent, he or she may get the answer, regardless of whether this is an elderly person or a woman or a child, because different professionals will be represented there. And in other rooms, we are ready to unite psychologists who could be able and who are actually already providing psychological services. This could be both individual and group work. We are conscious of the fact that for some of the partners, it may be too difficult to take 5 days a week. That's why we will develop a schedule for these services to be well coordinated for us to work within the same field. In 3 weeks, we will invite all the representatives who have volunteered, who have got registered after our first working meetings, to the session, and representatives of the employment center and social care service center. Um, they will be invited there, and we will discuss with the lawyers how we should arrange this work in the legal field. For psychologists, already starting with next week, jointly with the Department of Psychology and Psychotherapy, headed by Roman Kacharov, the Ukrainian Catholic Center, Ukrainian Lviv City Crisis Center, the Project Mental Health, and Lviv Administration, we will arrange a training for 200 people, for psychologists who are already working in the communities, but they need some knowledge and skills for working in crisis situations. So we will have 4 groups by 50 people for 2-day trainings, how to work in crisis conditions. This will consolidate our effort because every single partner who has come here today is interested in providing as much help as possible to those people. Why are we facing challenges? You know, when we go to communities, we have a lot of questions. What do we do starting with the 1st of September if we had to be evicted from the schools and other institutions of education? So I think that my colleagues from different departments can tell more, but dormitories are being prepared, and the order about provision of educational services is the right decision. It helps the children from Lviv region and from other regions to overcome different challenges, and they will have hobby groups. That's why we are preparing hostels and dormitories. But for the representatives of grant programs, this is also a challenge because now they are looking more for the people to be helped. That's why we have taken a different path. We are localizing different partners in different administrations. Different administrations inform about the services, and the people staying in those territorial communities and rayons may use the services of lawyers and psychologists. And another important thing is that we would like to establish an online catalog of the services of different partners And if a person needs some other help and these services are not provided on that very day, the person will come to know when he or she can get those services. Now we do have a great support and immense support in what we are doing, and I would like to mention one more direction to which I would encourage our partners to join. Starting with June, together with different partners, our working group goes on strategic sessions, and we will also do this in the second week of August. We will restore this activity. These sessions help us to consolidate our effort, and we often see very active representatives of IDP communities who, regardless of the challenges they are now facing, show very good, bright examples of supporting, of providing solutions, and sometimes they declare the needs that are really of utmost importance for them. Let me have a clarifying question. Tell us more about those centers. How many centers are going to establish, and what are the criteria and requirements as far as the population, the number of rooms, the premises are concerned? Well, 7 will be affiliated to Ryan administrations, and we need to realize that Lviv Ryan is led one. That's why we will have 6 plus 3 such centers, and plus Novoyavorivsk territorial communities, we've got 10. But at the working session, and we asked our partners for their need for such centers, other territorial communities also declared that such needs are available. So I think that there will be more of such centers. As far as premises and location is concerned, yesterday we had a trip with our business working group. We went to Sambir, Stray, Drohobych, Ryans. Besides that, we also went to Horodok. So this stands for joint effort of Rhine administrations and territorial communities that should definitely be in the center of the city. It should be maximum the second story for it to be accessible. And if we take Drohobych or Sambir, these are former humanitarian hubs, which are not that much overloaded, but people know about those locations, and the information about them has already been spread among the IDPs. You had some strategic sessions and you have got some feedback from communities. So could you please tell us what are the most typical problems and challenges communities are now facing in relation to this respect, to this domain? Well, there are 3 of them, and they are changing throughout our strategic sessions. We always start with a map of problems in all the environments where we're present, and we end up with responsible persons who mainly reside in territorial communities and who are ready to head such groups. So the major problem is in communication. uh, Oblast administration and Rhine territorial communities really do a lot, but we have come to realize that we don't send enough information, we don't disseminate enough information. There are other communicative communities, and that's why it's important to really have some field trips for people to go to the communities and to communicate with them. We need to develop certain communicative platforms. The other problem is jobs, or how one could find a job in spite of the fact that the employment center declares that there are a number of opportunities, but just not that many people who live here know about those opportunities, and the scheme of opportunities is not always clear and typical for the people coming here. And on the basis of our field trips, we saw that quite often IDPs who have come and who have been active businessmen in their communities try to modify their entrepreneurial activity and approach and involve IDPs. So the next step is to find your place in the community and to get involved in the life of the community by combining all the platforms where jobs could be found. And the third challenge is psychological adaptation. How do we cope with the challenges, with the current challenges? And no matter how much we speak about the need for psychologists, this process must be headed by the representatives of IDPs in synergy with the trust in the community. And until then, we will just be speaking about it as about the need. It will not be solved. So it's important to declare this problem. Another important direction for our working group is mobile squad um, trips. out of our partners, this is the Sheptytsky Hospital, also UNICEF partners. Our goal is to make such field trips to the places of accommodation of IDPs and to probably go ahead of the situation and of the problems they may be facing. People are in difficult physical and psychological conditions. In March, that was mostly not understanding of what was going on, that was panic and stress, but now um, each third or fourth person needs the services of psychologists and even psychiatrists. These services are in great demand, so we realized why it is so much important for us to accumulate our effort in this respect. And we are really grateful to the partners who mainly go on those field trips. Normally, these are groups consisting of a psychologist, therapist, cardiologist, and there are also squads having a lawyer. They provide the first examination and could make referrals to medical institutions. Do I get it right? Unfortunately, there is no sound. So, do I get it right that if the number of residents changes, unfortunately, no sound for the interpreter. So, when we declared our readiness to have the training for practical psychologists, social workers, it was mainly caused by the fact that we saw certain needs and challenges during our field trips. That was all about the inability of the heads of institutions hosting IDPs to cope with the challenges of stressful situations which they probably had never experienced before in such amounts. That's why we are now working with these people for them to be able to work with their teams and for them to further support psychological services provision in the communities at a different level. This is the first challenge, and the other challenge is the economic domain because a lot of things are going to change. And when we claim that we have 240,000 IDPs who have got officially registered here, we need to realize that the figure is in fact different because now there are quite a lot of people who were not registered for different reasons, and quite a lot of them will stay here to live. Yeah, and I think that we will see this in September. These will be students who have come here who will live in dormitories. These will be their parents, and these will be the elderly people who will be looking for their place in their own communities. Thanks a lot. So, in case there are any questions, we are ready to take the questions. If not, let's wrap up. Thanks a lot. This is Galyna Bordun, advisor to the head of Lviv Oblast Military Administration, head of medical and psychosocial support working group. And she has provided us with some very useful information about the support necessary for IDPs and for communities now. See you.